Go.
Okay, last night when we were eating dinner, we talked a little bit about riding with a group, just like with the Motorcycle Safety Foundation guidelines. And so I'm just going to go over those in a little bit more depth. What the Motorcycle Safety Foundation recommends is that when you come to a ride, the first thing you need to do is be prepared. Arrive prepared. And they recommend that you be there on time with a full tank of gas. I'd say be there a little bit early with a full tank of gas, and make sure you have the right gear. Okay? Always when you're riding, you need to make sure you got the right gear. You know, bring something extra if you need it. I mean, if there's a question that maybe it's going to rain, make sure you got the rain suit if you wear a rain suit. If you're going to be on a long ride, it might get dark. Make sure you got glasses for the night. You know, that sort of thing. So arrive prepared. Think ahead for the ride. Plan for the ride. If we're putting on a ride ourselves or yourselves, we need to hold a riders meeting. We need to get prepared with knowing the route. Okay, so people don't get lost. Like we lost one today. Okay, and that's our fault. And I take responsibility for it. Okay, we need a lead rider who knows the route, and a tail rider. Now what I like to do when we do a ride, like a Christian Unity ride, I like to encourage my riders, 3 or 4 of them, to come on a ride, a free ride with me. Because we're going to take a bunch of motorcycles, maybe 50, 60 motorcycles on a ride. It can get confusing. So I need as many people as possible to take a ride with me beforehand, so not only do you have the route on a piece of paper, you've gone the route. Because by the time I do that route, I'm not looking at the paper trying to figure out where I'm going. The route is in my head. I know where I'm going. And that should be the way it goes. If you're stopping to look at a piece of paper and trying to read street signs, you haven't prepared yourself right. Okay? The people you take with you on the lead and on the trail should be well prepared as far as knowing about group riding. Don't take somebody a greenhorn and send them on a lead. You know, they should work their way into that position. They should have good riding skills. Not a beginner. They should be good riders. Able to assess road conditions, speed conditions, weather conditions. You know, just get it to be able to get the group down the road safely. The Motorcycle Safety Foundation recommends keeping the group to a manageable size. You know, it's very hard taking 100 bikes down the road. Maybe break it up into smaller if you can, maybe 2 or 3 groups. That's a possibility, especially if you don't have a police escort. Talking with the Cleveland police about escorts, they get very costly. They said taking a ride of 100 bikes down the road could cost $3,000 for a permit and escorts. And so it may be different in your respective areas, that they may want to volunteer. They may be allowed to volunteer. In Cleveland, they're no longer allowed to volunteer because they have rides every week that they're escorting. So if you want an officer to escort your ride, you're going to pay for it. And
sometimes down south they just do it for courtesy.
Yeah, sometimes down south, and also depending on what group they are. I know several groups in Cleveland that when they see them all riding, they will try to block the traffic because they know how they're going to ride, and they're not going to pay attention to the laws anyway. So they just want to move them through safely before something happens. I won't mention any names. They say ride prepared. If possible, have a first aid kit, tool kit. For me, I try to keep a tool kit on every bike I own, even if it's a brand new bike. And the reason being that maybe my bike's not going to break down, but maybe Danny's bike might break down. Well, Danny and I might be riding down the road and we see somebody else with a bike broke down. So I want to have a tool kit there that I can use on my bike, his bike, somebody else's bike. And they sell a lot of different tool kits. Myself, I know I've put together a tool kit from my experience of riding that I know what I need to fix my bike alongside the road. Just about handle everything. There's some things I can't handle, and that's for the tow truck to come and get me. But also the first aid kit. If a rider goes down, you might have to administer first aid while you're waiting. Maybe he's bleeding, he cut himself real bad, broke a bone, anything like that. And I would suggest that we as a group, as chapters, maybe check into at least one member being certified in first aid, if not everybody, because that, when you're even riding by yourself and you got a first aid kit, what if you see a car getting a wreck? We should be stopping. That's an opportunity to minister there. You stop, help that person out until the police or medics arrive. And so it's a good idea to have a first aid kit. Cell phone. In this day and age, we got the cell phone. Best tool you can have, 911. I just saw an accident. It's right here, you know, we need some help. They get there down there pretty quick. Then they also suggest riding in formation. You need to stress the formation. When you go down the road, we talked about this before, riding staggered. It's always best if you're leading a group ride, or when we ride, to ride staggered as much as possible, because you do encounter things. Like today, we had some buggies. The Amish folks were riding their buggies, and so you know you want to extend that courtesy to them. You don't want to be blasting by them, doing 90 miles an hour by their buggy. So we're going to go to one single file. It's easier to go single file if we're not riding side by side. We can go single file real quick around any obstacle or anything like that, emergency vehicle. So a staggered formation is always the best formation. And also because maybe you're not used to riding to that person next to you. And you get to riding with somebody, maybe you put several years next to somebody, you kind of know where they're going. You think alike. Just like when my wife and I ride, I just need to look, and she knows I'm looking to turn, so she throws the turn signal out there because she knows when I want it. I don't even have to ask for it. I know, she knows that, hey, he's turning here. And that's how it gets when you ride with somebody for a long time. But you might be in a group, and you're not riding next to your buddy now, and you never rode with this person before, even if they're riding with the same patch. And so you don't know how they're going to react under certain situations, what they're going to do. And so that gives you just a little bit of extra cushion of maneuverability in riding that way. And so riding in formation, the other thing is keep the formation tight. We want to try to avoid getting traffic stuck in between us. If you leave a car a couple inches, they're going to jump in there. And some of them will push their way in there. And if they start trying to push their way in, tighten it up. Honk your horn at them. Hey, you're breaking our formation here. You got to let them know. Don't come in here. We're riding in formation. You know, they can go around. And the reason for that is we don't want the car in there. We lose people that way. All of a sudden you get a car there. Danny's back there. He's stuck. You got a car in front of him. Then another car winds up getting in there. And next thing you know, you got 2 or 3 cars. We turn the corner. He don't know where we're at. You know? And so we want to keep everybody together. And then we can also see maybe he had a flat tire or something. That happened to me before. I was going down the road with a buddy of mine. He had a flat tire, a blowout. Wound up in the front yard of somebody's house. I didn't even know it. I'm at the stoplight. I said, well, where's he at? So, you know, you need to be able to see everybody. Yes.
Another thing, riding in a tighter formation, we actually protect each other. They see the crowd more rather than you being peeled off in the back. And also, we're telling you if there's some roadkill or an obstruction, you get further back there. When somebody does this, you might not see them. It's especially like that if we ride at night or something. You got to be close enough to be able to see them, you know. Otherwise, you give up that protection, you know.
And they also say check the riders following in your rear view mirror. Okay, I can't stress that enough. When we take off, know who's behind you. At least the guy right behind you. If you know who the guy is, if everybody knows who's right behind them, nobody gets left behind, because all of a sudden you're the second to the last guy, and now all of a sudden you're the last guy. It's, hey, wait a minute, okay, I'm gonna shoot up. You know, nearest opportunity, I'm gonna get in that, and I'm gonna pass the formation and do one of these numbers. Pull it on over. Let you know, hey, we lost somebody. Because otherwise, we wind up like we did today, and that's happened more than one occasion. And I don't blame anybody, but it's happened more than one occasion that miles and miles down the road we find out we don't have all our riders. And when we could have found out a lot sooner that we were missing somebody and stopped, went back and got them. But now you're an hour down the road.
In the case of today, I knew when we hit the interstate that he wasn't behind us, but I thought he wasn't coming.
Right.
I thought there was a decision. I didn't know that. You know?
Right. And that's why I say I take responsibility for that. Yeah. And that there was a lack of communication. Everything that needed to be communicated wasn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, and we didn't realize that. And so we're just going to learn from that.
That's right.
We learn from our experiences. Okay. Don't separate. If you're separated from the group, don't panic. Okay. There should always be a pre-planned idea of, you know, what are we going to do? So ideally, like we would say, if we all know where we're going to, we're going to say when we get off the freeway, we're going to stop at that gas station on 528 and 990 and get gas. So now we know you, for whatever reason, get separated and you're back there. Okay, them guys are going to be stopping there. So that's where I'm going to. I'm going to there, and we know that you know to come there, so we're going to wait on you. You know, that sort of thing. So we should ideally set that up. Okay. Cell phone, medical, mechanical problems. You know, when we go on long rides, we like to have a chase vehicle, and a chase vehicle also has the responsibility of staying up with the group. So it's not just on the group to make sure the chase vehicle or the last guy. We're responsible for staying with that group. You're in the group. You need to know who's behind you, but you need to know who's in front of you and stay with the group. Be responsible for keeping that group together. Don't let it stretch out. If you let it stretch out, the guys behind you might be in tight formation, but now you got a big hole there, and a semi or something comes in there. So a lot of it is when you're riding together as a chapter or as a group or with others, you start learning more and more. The more you ride with people, the more you get used to the people, and the more you learn and the better you get at it. So that's the idea. Is I'm gonna make these available. They have some generally accepted hand signals, such as like this for stop, you know, single file like this. If your somebody leaves a turn signal on, that's very important. I mean, if you look in your mirror, we just made a turn, and the guy behind you still got a turn signal on. Okay, that could be confusing to other riders. It could be confusing to the traffic, because the traffic, all of a sudden, you got a left-hand turn signal on, and the guy coming towards you is making a left-hand turn in front of you. He sees you got a left-hand turn signal on.
Right.
You don't know you got your turn signal on. He turns right in front of you and whack, because he thinks you're turning, because your turn signal's on. So if you see somebody made the corner, this is the hand signal. Go like this. You know, your blinker's going, and turn it off, you know. So anyway,
Blinker fluid, huh?
yeah. We got a list of them here, and they're good to use because these are generally accepted. I mean, as you ride, you know, now see they have here this a high beam on the top, tap the top of your helmet. Now, in one motorcycle club I was in, if you did like this, that meant the man was over there, so you better slow down. So,
for us at CMA, this is tighten up.
Tighten up. So
When you're in town.
yeah. So different groups might have different signals within each other, but this is just a guideline to go by. And as you ride with people, you get more used to different signals. You know, like if I'm in the lead and I'm turning, I very seldom use turn signals. Well, actually, none of my bikes the turn signals work on there. I don't have them on two of them, and the one I got is broke. I did try to fix it, but they gave me the wrong turn signal.
you ride so close to the white line, I think you're turning left all the time.
But I'll go like this, make a big sweep, and like, we're going here.
Yeah.
I could see that all the way.
And if
down.
I'm
Right,
riding
I'm
with
trying
them,
to do
I'm
it
usually pointing
big
too.
so
Right
that
up on that
everybody
white
can
line,
see
bud.
it. We're going over here, you know.
Isn't it acceptable? Because I mean, you know, if you're turning right, you can do this.
You can do this.
But you can also do this.
You can also do
Because
this.
if you got your hand on the clutch, you can't do that.
Right.
So either one is good. It
Right.
just has to be recognizable.
Right. Yeah.
What is this? You did this.
Hello.
No. And the guy with the orange shirt was doing this right after you did this.
That's my brother.
I don't know, but when I was riding down through the valley here and we kept on hitting those hills, I was going like this. Like on the roller coaster. Yeah. That's what I was doing. But I had my hand on the throttle, so I was only doing it with one arm.
This is a
Max? Oh, it's Max.
They got the net.
But the other thing I was doing was, I was letting you know the speed limit went up to 55.
Oh,
Okay, we had reducing, we had some places where it went to 45 and 35, and then we were slowing down. And I didn't want to just peel off, so if the speed limit, it goes back up, I'm you know, because otherwise I'm going and I'm looking and it's like, the person behind me might be like this. So 55, let's go.
You know, you mentioned about the Amish. When I was truck driving in Indiana, if a buggy was in front of you and you didn't have the other lane open for a pass, you had to stay behind that buggy.
For sure. That's that way around here. They had the right of way. They had the right of way, and I try to go out of my way to give them the right of way, and the bicyclists and everything else, because so many of them get run over and killed. Nobody's got. You think they don't have respect for us? Imagine riding one of them things.
Yeah.
People don't care, and you got people riding on the road there doing it's 55. They're doing 75. They crest over the top of the hill, and they're going 10 miles an hour with a buggy, and they kill them.
Yeah.
You know. So when that sign says there's a buggy there, I'm trying to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And if I see them, I'm gonna slow down and accord them every respect I can.
Yeah.
You know.
Today that one peeled off right as we
as we were passing them. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, it's a matter of respecting everybody else on the road too. We try to respect everybody else. So we're gonna leave the riding etiquette like that, and just be aware, you know, of things, and anything we can do to try to improve our riding techniques. It's not a matter of blaming somebody or getting mad at somebody. If we think we can do something to better it, let's get that out there, because the better we can move on down the road, it's nice and easy. We can move more relaxed. We can get where we're going safely, and that's what it's about. You know. So I'll give this to everybody. I got some copies. I'll give you later. And with that, let's kill this video for right now and start a new one. Please.
Push the button.
You don't think you're gonna get time to eat?